What's going on, fantasy football fans? I'm your host, Hussein the Brain, and you're watching The Couch. Welcome to the 2015 Fantasy Football Awards Show. Even with all the bumps and bruises, ups and downs, it's been a great year, but all good things must come to an end, and it's the end of the fantasy football season. Real quick, if your league plays week 17 and you need someone off the waivers, Cameron Artis-Payne is my top waiver wire pickup. He's going to be great, especially if Jonathan Stewart is out. We know that Whitaker is likely going to be out, so he's a must pick up if you need a running back for week 17. Without further ado, here are this year's awards. In this year's draft, there's always a player that other people don't see why you draft this guy early, but you saw something in this guy and you took him in the mid rounds. The winner of the best value pick for this year's draft is Allen Robinson. Our next category is for a player who had a poor 2014 outing, built up a few doubters, a few haters, but came strong in 2015. My top bounce back player of the year award goes to none other than Adrian Peterson. And Brandon Marshall actually had strong consideration for both those categories. I had to mention his name. He was a great value pick, and he had a lot of doubters being on a Jets team and having a poor performance for 2014, but came back really strong as well. So I had to mention Marshall's name. When you're drafting, you're well aware of players that always get hurt. And this award back in the day used to be called the Darren McFadden Award, but he stayed healthy throughout this season, so we can't call it that. You could also call it the Brian Westbrook Award, I suppose. But this year's most injury-prone player award goes to Andre Ellington. I mean, you knew this guy gets hurt a lot, yet you still drafted him in the first 3 rounds. So he wins the award. Every year there's always one guy that stands out on the waivers that you pick up and that helps you win the championship or gets you far in the playoffs. And there's a ton of names that can go right here. I wanted to pick a guy that was good throughout most of the season that you could pick up early. Guys like Tim Hightower and whatnot were awesome towards the end of the year, but a guy who really helped you out and is going to win this year's Waiver Wire Gem Award is Blake Bortles. The following award was the easiest decision to make on who would win it, and that's Rookie of the Year. It has to go to Todd Gurley. Amari Cooper was looking like a strong candidate until Todd Gurley got healthy and started playing. So had to go to Todd Gurley. He was excellent, an elite running back, and didn't even play for the beginning of the season. Our next award goes to a guy who drives you crazy, drives fantasy owners mad. This year's biggest headache award goes to none other than Eddie Lacy. He gives you a terrible game, then a terrible game, then a great game, and then a terrible game week 15. So he has to win the biggest headache award. Lacy, fantasy owners don't like you. And a similar award, but I wanted to mention both these guys, so I had to come up with a different category, one that's better known. The biggest bust award goes to CJ Anderson, a guy who was drafted late in the first round or early in the second round and just didn't do anything. Now, he didn't win the biggest headache award because most owners knew to bench him after the first half of the season, or probably even earlier than that. And an award that I really like, and I always say in the beginning of the season, during preseason, that you can only have one of these guys, and that's a handcuff. This year's Handcuff of the Year award goes to D'Angelo Williams, one of the best running backs, period. And when Le'Veon Bell went down and when he was suspended, D'Angelo Williams was a complete stud, arguably the best running back this year. Some more names that I just had to mention on this award show that are sleepers, underrated, had great value, or excellent waiver wire gems are Tom Brady, because of his suspension, was drafted quite late in some leagues. DeAndre Hopkins, great value pick. Carson Palmer wasn't even drafted in some leagues or was drafted as a late round QB2. Devontae Freeman was a stud during the middle of the season. Allen Hurns, David Johnson, of course. Jordan Reed, who shook the injury bug and became a top-tier tight end. Kirk Cousins, you like that. Ryan Fitzmagic, and I mentioned before Tim Hightower. Those are all the awards for 2015. But wait, the biggest award, I want you guys to vote on this one. So for MVP of the year, fantasy MVP. Leave a comment below and let me know who the MVP is. I will let you know who I vote to be MVP, and I'll reveal the answer via social media at Fantasy Couch. And that about wraps up this video. Thank you guys so much for the continued support. This past year, Fantasy Couch has far exceeded my expectations and has become so much more popular than any of us ever thought it would. And thank you guys so much for that. If it wasn't for you, it wouldn't have happened. I do this for you guys, and thank you. Seriously, I mean it. If you guys also want to buy Fantasy Football Championship belt, you can do so by clicking here or follow the link below, or you can go to fantasycouch.com/champ. Also, make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. We'll still be doing the DFS NFL picks video, and of course, more fantasy football videos next year. Make sure you guys subscribe, like the video, get yourself a championship belt. See you guys on the next one.